You're up.
Okay. It is 6:34. I'm going to go ahead and call this meeting to order. Notice is hereby given that a meeting of the Sandy Oaks Animal Control Advisory Committee will be held Monday, October 11th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. at 22780 Priest Road, Sandy Oaks, Texas 78112. All agenda items are subject to action. The committee will also provide a live stream video and telephonic access of the meeting through the Zoom link and meeting ID 671-779-3635, or by dialing any of the following phone numbers. When requested, enter the meeting ID 671-779-3635. The public will be permitted to offer public comments in person, telephonically, or by video as provided by the agenda and as permitted by the presiding officer during the meeting by signing up with the committee chair at least 15 minutes in advance of the meeting, if providing comments in person, and at least 2 hours in advance of the meeting by emailing jpuente at the City of Sandy Oaks or by calling 210-607-0834 if speaking telephonically or by video. Written comments must be submitted to the committee chair up to 2 hours before the meeting by emailing jpuente at the City of Sandy Oaks and will be provided to the committee for their consideration. Item number 2, citizens to be heard. No one has contacted me to let me know that they wish to speak at the meeting tonight. So we will move to item number 3, announcements. The only announcements that we have so far will be for Nixle alerts. I don't know if you others have had a chance to sign up to start receiving those Nixle alerts, and it'll let us know every time that a dog is getting taken into custody.
Yeah, so I think the plan there is if there's nothing changed, then you won't get a notification. But if there is something new that's added, then we'll push the notification.
Cool.
And the intent on that is when Chris was our ACO, that was one of the requests that we receive frequently from this committee was communication. Let us know what you have. And right. Dalton's doing a good job of putting some things in place that may help us. Cool. And it will give us an opportunity to work with whoever wants to step up and help out with any of the animals, at least to know what we have on hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of the challenges with that is behavior assessment.
With the animals?
Yeah, the ones that come in, because that's an unknown. We don't know that. Julie, would you and or Lynette possibly be able to maybe work with Dalton to give him an idea of what he needs to look for or how he needs to assess those animals?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
Okay. That way we'll have a better feel for how they may do.
Okay, so that takes us to item 4, discuss and or possible action on the update of the ACO positions. So it's been a while since we met. The last time that we had a meeting, we were trying to get a part-time position to help with the ACO position. That did not get approved by council. And then shortly after that, we lost our ACO. So now we have an open position for our ACO.
Job ad closes tomorrow, close of business.
Okay.
So we will review candidates at Thursday city council meeting and make a decision at that time. And we could still work to hire a part-time position as well. I'd rather wait till next quarter. Mm-hmm. So sometime January. That's going to give us an idea fund-wise how we're doing.
Let's see. So with that, we'll go to number 5. Discuss a possible action on the ACA's presence on social media. We did create a Facebook page. There hasn't been a lot of posting on there, but that's out there. And then also there's been more posting on Nextdoor, especially with all the stray issue that we're having. But I think we need to start using social media. I know, Julie, you posted on Nextdoor the strays that we currently have. But we need to start trying to move these dogs that we have. And I know not everyone has just Facebook, but between Facebook and Nextdoor, I'm hoping we'll be able to reach more people and the city website.
So we did get access finally to the Facebook page.
Which Facebook page?
The city's animal control Facebook page. Between Dalton and Priscilla, and I think Chief, they figured out how to get into that. So instead of just having one person as, the primary or the admin, I think we have two now.
2 or 3, I think 3.
You and me, and Jennifer's on there, but I
I'm
don't
on
think
there.
she's as an admin.
I didn't get added as an admin. I got added
As
as
a moderator or
something like we're on,
contributor or
something
something
that where I
like
can
that.
just like post and do similar stuff, but I didn't have full privileges.
No, so what we'll do is we'll make sure that the chair has access,
Mhm.
Dalton has access, myself or anyone else that's
And
on council has access. That way we're not in this position in the future. What I'd like to ask is for the ACAC members, I could give them moderation privileges as well,
Mhm.
so that they could post things. There may be things that come up that are relevant, and that would help Dalton out as well, instead of him having to be the primary person doing all that.
Even like facts about spaying your animals,
Exactly.
just something out there, whether it's daily, weekly, or a funny meme or something, just so we can keep the page visible. The more people that ultimately like our page on Facebook, then it'll become more popular on people's news feeds.
Right.
I can help with some of that because the Humane Society page. I took over the Sandy Oaks Humane Society page because basically I was asked to a couple of years ago. It was getting out of control. But I don't put, it was already created, so I don't normally put the dogs on there. I can put the dogs on there.
Just do a link.
But I do
Just
get
copy a link.
That's
to
what
it.
I was gonna,
Yeah.
that's what I was gonna say, and just share it to it. But then the other thing is sometimes there's stuff on there that's applicable to the city that I can put on the
So I'll do
City of
that
Sandy
this
Oaks
evening. I'll get you
Animal
both
Control.
added, so you can add things,
Mhm.
Yeah.
like penny paws or
right.
I know we've talked in the past about different concerns around vaccinations, why you should vaccinate,
Yeah.
this deal with the rise in distemper,
Mhm.
it might be beneficial to have, information like that. I think one of the challenges is feeding the page, but not bombarding the page.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, so that takes us to number 6, discuss and possible action on the updates on the animals currently in custody in our facility or being fostered or scheduled for placement. Dalton, can you help us out with that?
Of course. Of course I can. So do you want me to just go down the list, or how would you like
So-
to go about it? Tell you the current adoptable dogs real quick.
That's the available.
Yeah, available dogs right there, all the ones highlighted. So we have Bandit. He's currently with a foster, awaiting adoption. She said that she might have a few interests in him. There's Rocco, the Chihuahua. He's at our
The one that he gave
facility.
us.
Mona, and then Tinker is at our facility. So is Trey and Kylie. And Kylie is the one that was in the system wrong. So she's been here a while, but she was not labeled correctly.
So then we have 6 right now. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well,
In our
It's 11
facility?
total, 11 total.
these are available.
These are.
Oh, these are available,
adoptable
okay.
dogs.
And Bandit is the one that went with Michelle.
Michelle.
So we really have 5 plus the holds, I guess.
Correct, yeah. And then we have the dogs on hold, which is, I called him Twinkie. That's the bathroom dog that we found in the city park this weekend. And then we also still have the 3 pit bulls
Yes.
from that case. And then we have a King Corso that was picked up that, yeah, he's that black dog that I was telling you about, and needs to be medically, for the medical reasons, probably needs to be euthanized.
I didn't realize he was a Cane Corso.
Yeah,
I have a friend that deals with that breed.
okay, yeah.
She's in Minnesota, but let me talk to
No,
her.
that's great, because I really rather not, so.
Yeah, let me talk
He's
to
an
her.
awesome dog. He's had a hard life, so.
yeah.
He's already 8.
And then that last one, that single page, that intake detail report, those are the dogs, well, not dogs, but dog and pig that we have taken in.
A guinea
This
hog.
month. So, yeah, Pinky was a little potbelly pig that was found on Waterwood Pass running around. So he is
Oh,
currently with the Bear County Livestock Officer.
Oh, cool.
So,
Did we ever find out what, I know if an animal is pending a cruelty case, it has to be held, but weren't we looking into?
Well, I was gonna ask Dalton, have you had a conversation with Chief about him?
He's waiting upon the DA to get answers on that.
Yeah.
It's still up in the air on those 3 dogs. Yeah.
Yeah.
As
see,
to whether
that's-
we have
As
to
to
hold
whether
them or they
as
hold
to whether
them,
we have permission to release them.
They're
or
not
we have
gonna
to hold
take
them.
custody of them.
Yeah.
they won't.
They will
Yeah.
remain with us, which I've expressed that's a problem.
That is a problem.
It's, we don't have the space. I mean, these are 3.
Yeah,
We don't have the space for them. But Chief's supposed to be finding out. The decision will come from the DA's office as to what or when we can dispose of those animals. What is their disposition?
They're all great.
They are,
Yeah. Well, there's one black female that she's a little shy. She's a little timid. I'm scared of fear biting from her.
Mhm,
But I mean, she'd probably warm up to someone pretty easily.
okay.
I think it's just here. But yeah, they're all good dogs.
The challenge with putting those dogs, you know, if the
Mhm.
DA says that we can release them. The problem with putting them up for adoption is the resident here. We don't want it going back to the same person that we took it
Right.
from. And I don't know how we prevent that.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
and the other thing is if there's concern about fear biting, you don't want them in a family that has. small
Exactly. Yeah. I
children.
don't. Yeah. So it'd probably be a single person or a couple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But she's still very playful with other dogs and, very, very friendly. Just, she gets very scared, so.
Okay.
So while we're still on number 6, unless you want to talk about it under number 7, we need to come up with a program or a policy, if you will, a plan on how long we're going to hold animals. We only have an 8-unit kennel. And you can see from the log that we've had some of these dogs in custody for quite some time. The cruelty case we've had since February, because they were brought in because of the storm. So,
That's right.
yeah, so there's 3. We have another one, Bandit, who's gone now, but he's been here since March. And I think there's another one that's been here for a while. And I know this isn't what we have been working towards, but unfortunately, it's the reality that we're faced with. So I've been working with Dalton to identify some improvements. Communication is one. These log reports, keeping the pet point up to date, notifying the committee members. So those are the first steps towards this, but we need to come up with a time frame. I'm not wanting to hold firm on 72 hours because
Mm-mm.
the law says at least. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to say 2 weeks is probably the max that we can hold them. And honestly, if they come back with a good health certificate, we need to, as quickly as possible, find a foster for them, because that's going to allow us to move them to a transport. So think about,
At some point, we had discussed this before, a couple of years ago,
right,
and there were too many that believed we needed to hold them longer, but I don't know, Julie, do you remember, didn't didn't a bunch of us discuss 10 days to 2 weeks?
I think so.
And had to set a limit.
Yeah,
That wasn't popular at the time, but it's a reality.
it is a
that's-
reality, and I don't, I mean, I don't want to go down that road, but unfortunately,
think-
what's happened is we have hundreds of dogs that are still
Mhm.
roaming the streets
Right.
and raising havoc and creating issues, and we have to be able to address all of
All
them,
of that.
not just the first 8 that come in,
Yeah.
you know, first in gets to stay. We're not running a hotel.
I think one of the biggest issues was that we might have transportation to a rescue,
Mhm.
but it might be 3 weeks down the road.
Exactly, and
And what
that's
do we
where a
do in those
foster, but
cases?
that's when a foster
Mhm.
comes in.
Right.
And we pay for, you know, for anyone that fosters, we're gonna provide the food, we're gonna
Right.
provide the medical, we're gonna do all those things.
Yeah.
We just need somebody to physically take custody on a temporary basis.
So we
Until
need
we
more
can
fosters.
get them placed.
Place an ad for fosters.
Actually, I do
Social
believe
media
it is
request.
2 weeks
But
that
they would
the
still have to be vetted.
transports want
What's that?
them out of the
fosters,
facility.
We would still have to vet the fosters,
The foster parents.
parents.
Yeah, that's part of our, we have a form already created.
Yeah, and
for
once they're in a
fosters.
foster, then that time clock is not running anymore.
Right.
Because the expectation is we're preparing them to transport them somewhere else.
Right.
But if they have to stay in our facility for whatever reason,
take up the
that's
room.
when we're having a bit of a challenge.
Well, I think it's much more doable if we're exposing these dogs to the public as far as, I don't mean physically, but letting the public know, this is
Right.
what we have. That's
Exactly.
been our downfall in the past, is nobody knows what we have.
Exactly.
And so
Yeah.
if we've got these dogs in everybody's face,
Yeah,
then, you know, they know what we've got, and it's
I
our
agree.
job to, you know, market them, to get them out there, to get exposure. Otherwise,
Yeah.
we're dooming them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
We
exactly.
might as well not even bother.
Right.
So,
Well, so the Facebook page is open to everybody.
Mhm.
When I posted on Nextdoor, I did not limit it to just our neighborhood or our immediate. I did
Everybody.
everybody, because you never know. Somebody, they may go, that's the one I want right there. I've
I
been
was gonna
looking.
say, I would favor it out of the area first.
I
mean,
would,
of
Yeah.
course, if someone wants to adopt in our community, that's fine, but I would favor it, you know.
yeah.
Outside our area.
And I think the other thing is no dog leaves this facility as an adopted pet without being microchipped. That
Yes.
happens here
Yeah.
before it leaves.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Lynette is a really good source for you to show you how to do that. If
Yeah,
you're-
I definitely want to dive into that, so.
So do we want to set a time limit? I'm game for 10 days or 2 weeks. I think 1 week where
is too.
it depends. Yeah, and it depends if there's a weekend in the middle there. You know, you don't know what's going on. That's almost too short of a period to try and
agree.
get rescues.
Yeah. I mean, you said 10 days, I'd say 14 days
Yeah.
You know,
I'm game
and-
with either.
and
2 weeks, I think is max.
2 weeks. And I don't even want to, I don't want that to necessarily be a hard and fast rule, because there's always some situation
Not
that.
unless somebody contacts us and says, hey, I'm out of town. That is my dog though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, that's my dog.
Yeah,
Or we get a rescue and it's the 15th day.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be sad.
yeah, that would be. But I would say 2 weeks, and then, in those situations that don't fit within that schedule and whatever particular circumstances there are with that animal, we're flexible to extend that if necessary.
So to take our animals up north, they have to be in a foster
They have to be out of the facility
out of the facility for 2
for
weeks.
at least 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And there is a transport that we've used before. You'll have to find out, look through Pet Point. They would be registered in there because that was the outcome on several. I think I'm not sure exactly how many we've shipped out. But I know Michelle has also worked with a facility in Austin
Right.
in the
I've
past.
driven
Yeah.
many a dog and cat to Austin.
Exactly.
They send a number of them to Austin.
Yeah,
It's not far, Joe.
it's not,
It's worth it. If you're gonna save a
That's
life
what I'm
for me,
saying. I'd
it's
rather
worth
do
it.
that than.
I know there's
Go to
people
Oak
who
Hills.
won't go across town, but you know,
they won't go down the block.
Yeah,
I have taken many a dog and cat.
So I think that's one of the challenges as well, is making sure that we are staying in contact with all the rescues. You know, to make sure that we're on good terms with them. We had a challenge with a previous member who didn't play nice with others. We'll just leave it there.
Yeah.
But that created a challenge for us. There's a little bit of mending that had to happen with one particular rescue.
Out of Scotia, when they adopt out an animal, they send that animal with a voucher to
To be
get,
neutered?
yes.
Yeah.
Is there anything we can do to work with Brooks maybe? Or
Yes.
anybody that we could do that? That way we ensure that these animals that we're sending out are gonna get taken care of and we're not going to be
Yes.
continuing
So
the vicious cycle.
did you find in Chris's email that conversation between Danica and him
The
about?
one- I sent it to you, I believe.
Okay,
I think I
but
have
you
a copy
haven't-
too.
You have not been in contact? I have not contacted
No,
her.
no.
Okay.
I was waiting for that to get set
Yeah.
up, so yeah.
Okay, so, and poor Dalton, he's kind of operating in
both,
a,
yeah.
in a,
Bear with me. I'm trying-
in a,
in a gray
in a
area.
gray area
Chris
right
sent me
now.
that email too. I have her. I
Okay,
can probably
so
reach out.
Chris and I had talked about that previously, and he was already having conversations with Danica about a voucher program. So yes, the answer is yes. We just need to get in contact with her and iron out the details,
And
whatever it
Danica
takes.
is with who?
Brooks.
Brooks City Farms.
Yeah.
We wanted to do it for cats as well, for
TNR.
because we're doing TNR already. But if somebody has their own cat, like I have I call him a feral, but I don't know where he came from, but he comes up and we're socializing him. But he needs them removed.
Recently I've
You
gotten
can
more.
continue to
There,
cats
in
than-
your face.
Really?
Wait, say again?
I've gotten more calls about cats than I have dogs.
Yeah.
Lots of cats.
So what we wanted to do was be able to help out the citizens. Here's the challenge. When we talk about subsidizing, may have to get some clarification from the attorney, because city funds cannot be used. City funds that are spent are to benefit the entire community. So can we subsidize, let's say that Brooks charges 40 and we give them a voucher for 20, they're on the hook for the other 20, but we're paying the 20. You see what I'm saying? Can we do that? We do it for TNR, but
Oh.
that's different. Now we're talking about individual pet owners. We're subsidizing an individual
Could we use
pet
ARPA
owner.
funds for that? Or having some sort of
I
like
don't,
pet drive or
I think a pet drive is a better idea.
something for people who, I mean, earn under certain income amount
yeah,
that they need help.
Does,
I know.
does our animal control facility even meet the requirements
for,
for ARPA?
this whole thing about animal control and ARPA is new to me. I've not read anything that talks
The only
about
thing I've
that.
read about it is for large cities that had facilities,
Mhm,
but that's large cities
not-
that had,
Mhm.
100 kennels.
yeah.
I haven't
I'm
seen
not familiar with,
anything.
in all the
for-
stuff I've read about ARPA, animal control has not been a
Yeah,
subject at all.
yeah, I haven't.
So the short answer is
Yeah.
probably not,
Mhm.
but
I
You
think
know.
I think a pet donation fund raising money.
so that is an option. There may be people who are willing to donate to a fund that is established specifically for that.
Yeah.
And that would be perfectly fine.
Or maybe, something on one of our community days where we dunk the marshal. We, we.
Oh, we'll make
Oh,
a
that
lot
would
of
be
money.
fun.
doing it.
We throw, we
Exactly.
charge and,
I
No,
know.
that's
throw
a good
pie at the
idea.
mayor, something, these kind of things.
Imagine
Well,
that.
wait, wait,
That's all we need to do.
Anything to make money. I mean,
Exactly.
those are the kind of things that are gonna make money. That goes into that little.
So what
Deal
the Parks
and-
Committee does is somebody sets up a table and like I came a while back and I donated a whole bunch of clothes and what they'll do is sell whatever at the community yard sale, whatever money they make goes back to the Parks Committee. So, I mean, that
No,
could
they're
be
keeping
something.
it at the community center.
Oh, the community center.
Yeah. It's kind of like their petty cash or to buy supplies or
Mhm.
whatever.
Oh,
I
we
mean,
can
we
do
could
something
make
like
more
that.
We
money
can,
than-
we can do something like that and then say, hey, we're having this event, come support, and this is what the funds go to.
That's a good idea. I
Pet
like
day
that.
party,
I'm game. You can dunk me.
have a pet day party or something
Mhm.
like that.
Well,
And
we
then
talked
even-
about doing a
Even
like
having
a
some of the pets out on
costume
market.
contest, the Halloween costume
Ooh.
contest.
If we
That
could get,
goes, in Bandera, that goes great.
Does
Every
it?
year. Every year, that thing goes great.
Well, we have a little bit of time this month to pull something like that off. But how do you do that? I mean, you have
Well, there it was
tickets
just-
that you're selling, or
Yeah, you would, well, no, not really. Well,
No, that
No.
was, it was at a function. The
yeah,
river-
it was
river
just,
walk.
they had vendors and stuff like that, and the vendors sold stuff, and then the percentage.
Well, I don't have my phone, but I think Penny Paws isn't coming again until the 30th.
I
of
was gonna
October?
ask you
Uh-huh.
about that, because there's a sign as you go on the ramp, and I thought that was for vaccinations, and it says, this,
This Saturday?
it's in Spanish, but it's Esta Sábado, isn't that this Saturday?
Mm-hmm. It's the 30th.
Cause weren't they coming like
For market
soon
days.
and yeah,
That's why I was
and it was
confused,
later in
because
the
there's-
day. The time
Because
was
I had
later.
posted something,
I thought I
somebody had
said
asked on
something.
Facebook, whatever, and I had put the 18th, and then Michelle
It would
contacted me.
It would
said,
be
"No, it's the
this
30th 'cause they're
Saturday
shorts."
if they're coming, but they said they were coming on the 30th.
That's what
Right.
Michelle told me.
And that's why the sign confused me, because I thought that was
I was not
the
expecting them this weekend.
vaccination sign,
I
I
mean, if
didn't
they're
read it
coming,
in
that's
full.
great.
but I
Well,
saw it on my way here.
But if they're coming on the 30th, then we can use that day to have some sort of pet.
Because that's a Saturday.
Mhm.
So-
The, is the city having a trunk or treat?
The city doesn't do it.
Oh, it's,
It's strictly just the neighborhood, and Damon lets them do it up at the shops.
no, I haven't seen anything. Are we having one? No one's.
Yeah.
We're having one?
Yeah.
When?
The-
31st? Oh, it's always on Halloween?
Always on
Always on
Halloween.
Halloween. Because the school does it at different, some of the
Just trying
schools
to
do
give
them
them as an
different,
alternative to go out and walk.
yeah.
Huh. Okay.
And I did talk with Gloria about possibly doing something at the community center for Halloween.
That'd be cool.
I was actually, the Schmidts always do their haunted house, and apparently they're not doing it this year. And
Oh, they're not.
well, no, and they had hinted, Greg had hinted at one time that about doing it in the park. He says, but I can't leave my stuff down there.
Right.
Yeah.
So I approached him a couple of weeks ago and I said, what do you think about doing a haunted house inside the community center? And that way we just lock it up at night.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It may be too late. I mean, we're halfway there. They usually start in September
Oh, wow.
because it's so much. But that doesn't mean that we still can't do something else.
What to think about it.
We just need ideas on what to do, and then how we benefit from donations or sales, percentage of sales or whatever. Trying to get vendors to come in that sell pet related stuff. It might be too late trying to pull something like that off. Doesn't mean we still can't do it. We just might not be able to do it for Halloween.
Yeah.
Christmas is coming up. We can always do something for Christmas.
Yeah, that is true.
So,
Have a big barrel
Pet
next to the
drive
Christmas
and-
tree.
yeah.
Oh, we can do a pet drive
Tell
for
people
Christmas.
what all
Let's do a
is
separate
needed.
angel tree for the dogs.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. A little small angel tree for the
Oh,
dog.
we can, we
Put your
can.
dog on there to have them spay or neuter.
Mhm.
It's each dog and cat
It's
request.
true.
Yeah,
It's true.
Sponsor
Why
us.
We
not?
can.
Spay neuter.
we can do it.
Yeah. We'll get like a little fire hydrant, and do a Charlie Brown tree on top of it.
Angel tree
People like dog
for.
There's days.
Alrighty, let's get back to item 7. This kind of takes us into it. Discuss or possible action on the improved reporting of intake, animal intakes to us as ACA members. So these 2 logs that Dalton had sent there as of last week. But this is something that we're gonna start receiving. It'll go over the intakes that we have, and then item B is the euthanasia log.
Can we
We can discuss them.
discuss it?
Yes.
I like the intake report,
Yeah, y'all tell me whatever you guys,
But-
yeah, tell me how it goes.
but I was wondering if we could do something like we used to do with the outcome summary reports that includes also adoptions. Let's see, it included adoptions, TNRs, return to owners, DOAs, euthanasias.
Anything other than these, basically.
Can you
Yeah,
send
and
him
there's a
that
way
so we
to
can
do
see
it
it?
in generic.
And I think that would be helpful because that's going to help us
So I'm
gauge.
not understanding that. What?
It's this report. She has a copy. It's from her,
Yeah.
but that you can at least take a look at it and.
It's in Pinpoint.
What I asked Dalton to do with these reports was, instead of going back to the beginning of time, just June 1st forward. So that's
Oh,
what
yeah.
these represent.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
And once we
See
get
what I mean?
comfortable with the reports, then they'll be more condensed because
Yes.
it'll just be
Yeah.
new activity.
Because that would give this committee an idea, of, how are we doing on
Exactly.
the adoptions? How are we doing on the rescues, and
Mhm.
plus the euthanasias?
Right.
And the other one was, we used to have a little summary report that talked about the citations.
That is done,
don't we get those for,
But
is
you
that
can
what we
also
used to
print
get on
it out
console?
on Pet Point without giving details away.
Chris's report that he would present that you're gonna do on Thursday. You have that?
It just goes over, you picked up any animals or you cited anybody.
See, this one,
This, yeah.
Was it the little graph?
yeah, a little graph.
I know where that is. Yeah, I know how to get to that on this. Yeah.
The point being, if we know that we're having a high incident report of illegal animals versus unsanitary conditions for animals, then maybe that's something that animal control or that this committee can address
Mhm.
during some of the flyers and the penny paws and, make
Mhm.
people aware of stuff.
I've lost my login to Pet Point,
Oh, no,
which is bad because I'm like an admin.
because we used to
I gotta
have,
figure out how to get back in there.
all that and we had how many, the strays at large.
Right.
Illegal animals, all
If you
that.
have not taken a look,
It's very handy.
the court docket starting tomorrow, there is a
Yes.
lot of animal citations.
I saw that.
Chris went out, the school buses start running about 6 in the morning. He followed them around and cited a whole bunch.
Mhm.
So all of that is being addressed through the courts now.
Cool.
Yeah, that's
Hint, hint.
trying to find all that paperwork and get it transferred over.
Yeah.
I just think that would kind of
Yeah,
help
definitely.
us know what still needs to be addressed or reiterated 20,000 times.
So do we need to, regarding the euthanasia, do we need to have an ordinance for that saying that we're gonna keep them max
No,
2 weeks?
no, we
Okay.
don't. And there's really no official policy. I believe for this, for animal control, because the overarching role of animal control is to deal with the strays and the abandons.
Mhm.
So how we do that, we just need to be flexible. Right now, we're changing it. You know, we couldn't even take in a dangerous dog today if we needed to, because we don't have the space to do that.
Yeah.
So we're gonna, and one of the reasons that we changed it before was because of the cruelty
Mhm.
cases we had.
Yeah.
We had another one that we ended up putting down because she was so sick. But you know, that takes up half of our space, so that there wasn't much we could do. What we may have to do is, what I would prefer is that if it's a Bear County case, because the district attorney, because it's a the Bear County District Court's gonna handle that, then move it to the Bear County facility,
Yeah.
not our facility. Because we just don't have the space for that.
What about, did we ever decide on a policy for bite cases where we have to hold the animal for 10 days? Are
We
we
don't
gonna
hold
do
them
it?
here. They're
go
always
to-
held at Oak Hills.
Oak Hills, okay,
Mhm.
Any bites, we don't hold them here.
cool. That gets
Yeah.
expensive.
But that goes back on the owner, the dog owner.
If we know the owner,
In most of the bite cases, we have known
we
the
have
owner.
known the
Oh,
owner.
yeah, most of the time.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah. But yeah, it does get expensive because I think it's
Yeah.
$35 a day
Yeah.
for 10 days.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
and
it's nothing to play with. It's-
Yeah.
it's
and
pricey.
unfortunately, you know, in a situation like that, if we didn't know the owner, I'm gonna say that we're probably at the end of 10 days, we're gonna put the dog down anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
you know, I mean, we only do the 10-day hold because by law we have to, or not necessarily.
Not necessarily,
We
because
can
if they have,
we can put the dog down and send the head off for testing.
Yeah.
Because that's the whole reason for the hold is.
but then don't you have to pay a certain amount for the testing?
Oh, yeah. So,
Because I know in
You
New
would just have to
Mexico,
waiver the cost, I guess, see which one.
yeah, see,
makes sense.
because in
yeah.
New Mexico, it's like $750
It's
for
a
the,
lot.
for
Oh
the
my God.
testing. For the,
Now, we've
county
only
medical
had
examiner to
to
have it.
send one dog in. This was several years ago.
Yeah.
And Bear County took care of
Covered
that
it.
for us.
Yeah.
Because we didn't really have an animal control program at the
Mhm.
time.
The other
they
thing
paid
is-
for it.
the other thing is if isn't there some, if they can prove that the dog has a rabies test or it has had the rabies vaccination, then that dog does not have to be held,
It
does
still
it?
needs to be held, but it does not need to be quarantined.
Not quarantined.
So
Okay.
well, when I say that, it has to be secured
Mhm.
for the 10 days still. But the ACO can make the determination based on the physical location
Mhm.
that dog, it can be contained. And
Yeah.
then for that time period.
Yeah, because the biggest issue I remember is you have to start the back. If you've been bit by a dog that might be rabid, you have to start the
I think it's
Uh,
within 48 hours.
the injections within 48 or 72
Something like
hours,
that,
something like
yeah.
that.
And I hear that's not fun.
Oh, no, it's not
Yeah.
fun and it's not cheap.
No. And it's really not fair.
No,
Yeah.
If your dog has a rabies vaccination and it bites someone, then you can keep it. You have to take it for 2, an initial vet visit and a 10-day vet visit. And
But they're not required to be in
$50 a
isolated
visit
quarantine.
For the certification that it's not rabid.
Right.
yeah, and then the other thing about the person that gets bit is that rabies vaccination proof, they have to have it in enough time to get it to their doctor to get it signed off before they order the serum or whatever it is that they wind up getting shots from for rabies, for potential rabies.
And once we have had animal and
gets
human
bad.
bite out here, that dog then gets registered as a dangerous animal, and that's an additional $400
Yep.
a year fee for that dog to
Mhm.
stay here.
My family always said if a dog drew blood once,
It will do it
it was
again.
put down.
Yeah.
Because it'll do it
It
again.
will. And I don't believe that's the dog's fault. I think that's
No.
the,
No, it's not.
how they were raised.
Alrighty.
Unfortunately.
Well, that takes us to item number 8. So it is 7:14 and this meeting is adjourned.
I know.